grow into this faith and this letting go of control that I need to be the one that's in charge of everything. So I haven't prepared anything, and I'm just going to go. We're just going to see where this goes. So the word of the day for me seems to be addiction and addict. And so I read something, ironically, in a book that I was reading today that says addiction is the relentless pull to a substance or activity that becomes so compulsive it utterly interferes with everyday life. So if I may be so bold, because that would be in my nature to take the heat off of me to make myself feel more comfortable, if you feel comfortable doing so, could I have anyone in here who identifies as an addict, alcoholic, shopaholic, rageaholic, raise their hand? Now take a look around the room. Nobody here is alone. And so I'm Alexandra and I'm an addict. Let's see. I don't even know. I'm supposed to tell you what it was like and then what happened and what it's like now, right? Perfect. Okay. Don't worry. I got you 10 minutes. We're good. From the outside looking in, I came from a life that was pretty normal, pretty healthy, pretty okay, as far as I knew. I came from a middle class family. I am an only child. I always had what I needed. I had friends. I had relationships. I had everything I thought I needed and things I didn't even need. So I've had a 20-year career with drugs and alcohol. Not anymore, but I did. And I never thought that anything that I did was abnormal. There was never a point in my life until about 3 years ago where I thought that I had a problem. It was normal to be 16 and taking your cousin's fake ID to get into a bar. It was normal to bring a 26 of alcohol to a party, and that might not be enough to get you through when you're 18 years old. It was normal to be partying with people who were participating in music events up backstage when you were 18 or 19 years old. And I was able to skate along like that for a while. I was having a good time. I had people around me who were enjoying what we were doing. And I never had any serious consequences as a result of that. So I just motored along on that trajectory. And things were okay. Or so I thought. I always was able to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. I went to school, I had the job, I have a car, I have a house. And I didn't really realize until coming into recovery that all of those things that I did for somebody else and not for me. And perhaps I was, medicating myself through these choices that were not true to myself. And it was always trying to be something for somebody else, and never really doing anything for myself. So in 2020, I really realized that my using, I am a drug addict by design, had come to a place where it was becoming unmanageable. I started to notice that my life was not okay. And I decided to check myself into a residential rehab program. No one told me I had to be there. I made the decision myself. And it's funny how things work. I remember probably 3 months before that, sitting in my office with 3 individuals. One is in this room right now. The other one was the owner of my brokerage, and the other one was my business partner. And we were having a conversation about addiction and all of these things, and I was sitting there high, and it didn't even register to me like, oh, maybe you have a problem. But when I finally came to the realization that I did really very much have a big problem, the first place I knew that I could go was any one of those 3 people. And fast forward to me crying at the Rubies, kitchen table, and Jordan was there, so he got to experience that. And I was finally free enough to admit that I had a problem and I needed help. So I went to a wonderful rehab facility. The place was magical. There's some people in here that are part of my story related to that as well. I originally rejected the idea entirely. How could I be in this place? What's going on? I'm out of control. This is awful. And I came in kicking and screaming, but then I realized this is only going to work if I allow it myself to embrace what's going on. And so I dug into the work, the counseling, the relationships, the people, and I had such a positive experience. It wasn't even funny. And I was just told, just do what you're told. Do the classes, believe the things you're being told, speak about whatever. I came from a life that you don't talk about anything. And I think that was part of my rapid demise, was just holding everything in for years and years and years and never having any place or outlet to be vulnerable. And so rehab was my first step to vulnerability, where I could identify with the people that were in there. As much as we were different, we were all the same. And my very first foray into vulnerability was with my roommate. And I told her things that I thought I would never share. So fast forward 60 days in treatment, I come out, I'm doing the things, I'm doing the work, I'm going to the gym, I'm eating healthy, I'm staying away from all the stuff. And I'm participating in fellowships, but I was always intellectualizing why a 12-step program wasn't going to work for me, or I was looking for holes in certain situations, like this person says that they're in recovery, but look at what they're doing, or this is not as it is, or maybe if I could just put things away for a while, I can get to a place where I could drink again, or I could use something again. I could tell you that I cannot. After 18 months of entire abstinence, I fell into a mental relapse and an emotional relapse. And then eventually I picked my substance of choice back up, and we were off to the races. And if I had a rock bottom in 2020, my rock bottom had a basement. And so in July of this year, I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And so again, I came crying to the Rubies. What do I do? What do I do? And this time I was really just open to fully embracing whatever it was going to take to make me feel better. And so I entertained the idea of reading this big blue book, and I came back and said, okay, now what? And so it's really been in working a 12-step program that I have found a difference in my sobriety. So many more things make sense about the nature of my disease, about the way that I was feeling even in sobriety, restless, irritable, and discontent. All the things happen even without the substances. And so now I am working through a program. I am not recovered, I am recovering, and I am so thankful that I was able to become broken and battered enough to be open-minded and willing enough to just let go of the control and realize that I don't have to do this alone, that it's not me that needs to make all the decisions in my life, and that I can do it with others around me, and I can do it with whatever higher power is out there. I'm still trying to figure that one out too. Let's call him God for John. Let's call him God. And so I'm so thankful to so many people in this room, the relationships that I have been able to create and the connections that I have made in recovery have been outstanding and phenomenal. And somebody in here would know that when the notion of a 12-step program first came out, I said, like, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'll sit in the seat, but I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. And so now here we are 2.5 years later, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid with like extra scoops of sugar, because it brought me to all of you, and it brought me to a place in my life where I realized that I don't need drugs and I don't need alcohol and I don't need anything but everything that I have inside of me to do hard things. And so, thank you for letting me be here.